Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Justin McBee with Integrity Marketing Group. I first want to thank everyone for their time today to learn about MedicareCENTER. So, very excited news here to get started with MedicareCENTER for all of you guys using the system. It's going to be a big year this year. We're increasing carriers, increasing some other additions in the system, the tool, etc. So, again, we're going to go through the system today, do somewhat of a MedicareCENTER 101, do a deep dive of what the tool looks like, consists of, etc. And we'll go through an actual enrollment up to the point of submission, but we will not go ahead and submit, or we'll go to the carrier. So what everyone's looking at currently is the MedicareCENTER landing page. Very simple to get here. It's www. You don't even need the www, but you can. MedicareCENTER.com. So very straightforward. MedicareCENTER.com. That'll bring you to this login page. Everyone's login credentials, and I'll mention this one time, but you can also get more information through your upline and or MedicareCENTER at integritymarketing.com. But your username, login credentials goes as follows. Very simple. If you miss it this time, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll get you that information. But username is your national producer number, so your NPN. So if you have an NPN of 12345, that is your username. Password format, very simple as well. It is capital NPN plus the last 4 digits of your NPN. That is going to be, if it's 12345, you have an NPN, or I'm sorry, a password of NPN 2345. So pretty straightforward there. Carriers in the system we have used in the past, generally speaking, have been United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana, Highmark, and Anthem. This year we're looking to essentially triple the carrier. So pretty big news coming out of the carrier side. We haven't released that data yet. We are working on the approvals as we speak, so that's going to be new this year as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get here logged in. And we're actually, I have a comment here, they're trying to get set up. So it is a pretty big group. So we're going to wait probably another 2 minutes, and then we'll get logged in and started. So as waiting here to go ahead and get logged in, additional to MedicareCENTER, within it, you're going to see a CRM tool as well. So we offer you a CRM tool, very basic yet effective CRM tool, which you'll be able to utilize. The new site launches on 10/1 of 19. So we're looking in about a week, actually. A week from today, the site's going to launch for plan year 2020. So that's going to be exciting news as well. This webinar is being recorded, so we will be able to distribute to any and all individuals interested. Your upline, and we'll get that to you, and or MedicareCENTER at integritymarketing.com. I will say that once you get into the system, utilize the tool, get familiar with the system, really becomes one of those things with more practice. You'll get familiar with it. It'll be more of a streamlined process as well. Again, I'll mention some carriers as we're waiting here. We do know from years past that we will have United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana, Highmark, and Anthem. We're looking to expand that carrier list again pretty significantly. We haven't really announced those carriers at this point, but I will tell you that some of the bigger PDPs, such as WellCare and SilverScript, will be in the system, which is big news there. So with that being said, well, as we go through this presentation, I do ask that you put every question that you have during the presentation or afterwards in the questions box. At the end of the presentation, I will go through every single question with everyone so we kind of are on the same page. Now, with that being said, I think we'll go ahead and get logged in here and then go ahead and get started. Again, with your username credentials, please reach out. We'll get those to you. Today, we're just using a test account. So with that being said, we may experience some glitches, some slower than normal systems, but please be aware that the system is not this slow. If we do experience those issues or have these issues, it's just because of the testing environment. So Once we get logged in here, we're going to see what is considered the control panel or dashboard. So as we're waiting, we'll wait about another 30 seconds here, but I want everybody to just kind of take a minute to get familiar with the dashboard, because this is kind of where you see and do everything within the system. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and move forward. Again, this is being recorded so we can make sure that everyone receives this this copy of the recording. So again, this is the dashboard and or control panel. Up top, you're going to see 5 blue tabs. View dashboard, which is what we currently are looking at. Search profiles, that's a way to search for any given consumer that you've added to the tool already. Start consultation, you can go ahead and highlight, exclamation point, whatever you want to do, but start consultation, that is the most important thing to do. So always start a consultation with any new consumer that you're adding to the site. Start new enrollment basically bypasses consultation. So again, while you can start the new enrollment and bypass the consultation, highly recommend that you start with the consultation, because that does capture the consumer profile, save the information, save the drugs, everything that you'll be able to access at any given time. Send quick quote. Send quick quote is a very quick way to search for plans in a specific zip code. So if you're looking for 15220, we will be able to see all of those plans really quickly in that specific zip code. Now, this will only show the plans that you are pointed with one of the uplines or FMOs under the Integrity Marketing Platform. So you will not see every carrier as you would in .gov, so you do have to have an active contract that you're appointed with and certified for to see the carrier in the system. As you see, it is broken down by MAPD, PDP, and MedSup. This being a good point to mention that we do have, this is primarily a Medicare Advantage and PDP enrollment tool. However, we do have a very, very few MedSups in the system. So understanding that we are working towards getting more MedSup approvals in the tool. Currently, we just have mostly Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plan. Going back to the dashboard, up top, you're always going to see this little question mark with a circle, and you will basically utilize that as a walkthrough assistant. So we've built in kind of a tips and tricks little thing. So if you ever want to click on this at any given section of the thing, it's going to bring you up a little walkthrough assistant. It's just going to say what start consultation is, what start new enrollment is, etc. As you see, you can click next and kind of filter through that as well. Another thing up top you're going to see is My Account. So when you go into My Account, there's going to be 2 specific things I want you to pay attention to. First and foremost, you're going to see something on the right-hand side labeled Your Marketing Shopping Link. This is super exciting for all agents, because what this is, it's basically your own Pearl. It's going to be your personalized URL. Basically, it's your own website that you can market with, whether it's on your email signature, social media, postcards, whatever you want to market with. So what that means is if I am Justin Consumer and I click on Sarah Beth's Pearl, I openly shop whatever plan Sarah offers, and I enroll in any given plan that she offers. Sarah gets full commissions for that sale. She gets notified that Justin enrolled in that specific plan, in which you could then reach out and build that rapport with her, therefore gaining another consumer. So pretty cool stuff we offer there. Something we're not going to see today, but you will see on 10.1, you're going to see your agent selling permissions. While that may sound a little bit confusing, what that essentially is, it's just going to show you your selling permissions broken down by carrier, by state, and the products that you sell. So what that means is you'll be able to see exactly what you see. Again, breaking down state, if you're licensed in multiple states, you'll see each state pertaining to that specific carrier. And that's going to be really it that you need to pay attention to on the My Account section, other than obviously your agent information verifying that's correct. Going back to the main page here on the dashboard, you will see reports. So this is going to be new this year, live reporting. So as you go ahead and get all of your sales through the system, you will start to see that tally here. You can run custom dated reports if you wanted to specify what time frame. You'll be able to see your year after year sales, enrollments by plan types here in both of these sections, and you'll be able to see your completed versus profile started. So pretty cool stuff. If you start a profile and you don't complete it, it'll tell you that you basically need to go in and complete it. Over to the right-hand section, this is essentially the CRM aspect of the tool, which we'll cover here in a little bit, but it will show you your open tasks and your profile started as well. Scrolling down to the bottom, there's two really important things you're going to see. Of course, one of the most important and exciting is the physician formulary and pharmacy finder. So this is a one-stop shop. Instead of having 14 logins, broker portals, passwords, etc., you can utilize MedicareCENTER to find all of that in here. So if I'm looking for, again, a specific zip code, and we type in the zip code, we're going to be able to see, again, all of the plans that are in that zip code. We can find the plan that we're looking for and click Find Physician. Really neat stuff here. It does directly link with the carrier's website, so it is live data. So if Aetna updates their site, you'll be able to see that information in hours as well. Same with the drug and pharmacy here. If you wanted to see if a drug was covered in the Advanced or Silver plan or the cost of it here, you start to search for the drug, you add the drug, and you will see that information. Now, I want to point out here, this is done on a one-off basis. You do want to, if you're looking for an overall aspect or view of a client, you want to start a consultation, add all of the drugs, and then you'll see all of that information together. So again, just looking for something really quickly here, you can utilize this. Find pharmacy, same thing. You will search for that, and it will give you your preferred versus standard pharmacy. So pretty neat stuff. It'll give you the distance from the zip code. You can change that to a specific address if you choose to do so there. Over to the right-hand side on the admin side, you're only going to see this enrollment status and opportunities functionality, which is pretty neat as well. You can run a, again, custom date report here. It'll show you your enrollments versus profiles started, and the most unique thing here to pay attention to is the View Started Profiles. So once you click View Started Profiles, this is going to provide you with your, essentially your full book of business that you have in the tool. So it'll give you the application date, the plan name and confirmation number. The status would either show started or enrolled. But the most important thing I like to show here and display is you can actually export this list to Excel. So many may not find that too amusing, but I'll give you two specific instances where this could really help you. So if you export this list to Excel, you can therefore filter down the application dates, thus allowing you to hit the renewals or know or be aware of the renewals kind of ahead of time. So if you're looking for all of your April 2020 renewals, you'd be able to filter that out and find your renewal list. On the other end of things, if you are living in a section or area with a plan exit, this really helped one of our agents last year really significantly cut costs on time and travel. There was a big plan exit. She was able to export this to Excel, break down or filter out the plan that was exiting, and then have the full list of consumers she needed to cover for the AEP, which is pretty beneficial. Going back to the dashboard. That is basically an overall view of the dashboard and how things can work. So what we're going to do now is start a consultation. You will see these new 7 gray or white tabs up top. We're going to go through those today. Creating a profile only requires the top 4 fields. However, I do highly recommend, if you have the information, to go ahead and complete that. This will, again, save you time because it does store it internally. It also carries over to the enrollment form, thus saving you and or the consumer a lot of time in the long run there. So we're going to go ahead and make up some information here. If I could type today, we would be okay. So we type the information out. You add the state, which we do not live there, and we can continue. So once you click continue, it's going to bring us to the SOA tab. Now we're going to see a glitch here. It normally would pull this over to the email address field automatically populated. So I'm going to really quickly just pop out into Google Chrome, which brings me to a next point. This system does work on all internet browsers. None work better, none work worse. So you can use Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, any of the above. They all do work the same. You would just want to make sure you're up to date on the most recent updates on those browsers if you're experiencing issues. We're just seeing the issue today simply due to the fact the testing site here. So what I'm going to do is log in really quickly and create the profile just as I just did with starting a consultation. All right, so you create the contact and again, click continue. That will save the profile for you. Next brings us to the scope of appointment tab. You see the email address automatically populates. So if we chose to collect the electronic scope of appointment, you would just simply click email SOA. So what that's going to do is email the scope for completion to the consumer, which we'll do. However, you do have the option to collect a paper scope of appointment. Very exciting news this year as well. You will be able to upload a paper scope if you do collect that. So if you upload a paper scope, you're going to see a little button here that says upload. You would simply click it, select the PDF copy of the scope, and upload it. So that'll always be stored within the consumer's profile. Now, I already sent the scope, so what we're going to do is actually go in and check the scope out. You're going to see here, you're going to see, it's going to have your agent name. It's going to say, thank you for your interest. And once we open up here, it'll have the consumer's name. It'll say, I'm looking forward to meeting with you. And it's going to have a really big orange button that says complete scope of appointment. You would advise the consumer to click complete scope of appointment. It's going to open up that scope for the consumer. Now, all they have to do is make the product selection up top, which I'm just going to select all, and they only have to complete the first and last name. Now, if they ask you if they have to complete everything else, they are more than welcome to do such. They just do not have to. So we're just going to do first and last name here. And by checking this bottom selection, this is going to serve as the consumer's digital signature. So check the box and submit. They're going to get a nice little confirmation page that says this has been submitted. Now, due this year, we are working, and I believe it's going to be launched on 10/1. You will be advised when the scope is completed. So pretty big news that we haven't had in the past. Agent is now advised that the scope is completed. I go back into my dashboard. Now I can go golfing, I can go grab a drink, I can meet with friends, I can do whatever I like. You can always log back into the system or just simply refresh on the scope of appointment page for this consumer. And you're going to see the date that the consumer completed it, the products they selected, and a very long confirmation number That's not really necessary to remember because that's going to shorten once you complete your portion. So we're going to click awaiting to be submitted as the agent and complete my portion. Pretty basic information here. We're going to complete. I'm just making up some information. By checking this box, this will now serve as the agent's digital signature on the scope, and click submit. Once we click submit, we're going to see the confirmation that the date it was submitted, the true confirmation number, and the status will now show submitted. So now we can move on through the process. Next will be the health tab, which automatically pre-populates with the zip code that you put in and the age range that you put based upon the date of birth. Next is the subsidy tab if the consumer qualifies for any additional assistance. We'll do not eligible for the sake of the demo. Moving on is the drugs tab. So this is huge, huge, huge news for everyone, especially those who are aware of the Medicare.gov quote unquote debacle there with storing consumer drugs and creating profiles. So we are very excited to announce once you create a consumer's profile, add the drugs, you will always have access to that information. So as we build this drug list here, at any given time, whether it's tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year, you will always have access to this information. So another reason to use MedicareCENTER, obviously, is to go ahead and complete the drug list for your consumers, always have access. You can quote, you can enroll, you can do everything, whether face-to-face or remotely, which is pretty cool stuff. As we add the drug list here, it does have this smart search functionality. So as you see, I typed LIP. I'm looking for Lipitor. You add the dosage and the quantity, and you add the drug. So I'm going to go ahead and add another drug as we just continue to build the cabinet, and we add the drug. So let's say this is all the drugs that our consumer takes at this point. I do want to display this little hyperlink that says switch to generic for likely savings. We have built this in for many reasons, but it makes your life a lot easier. If you don't know the generic version, you simply click that. It's going to switch it to the generic version for you, which is a lifesaver because we all know that some of those drug names are 50 letters long, make no sense, and we can't pronounce them. So that is there for you to utilize. So moving on, we're going to complete the drug list and continue to the pharmacy tab. The pharmacy tab, again, which we displayed a little bit ago, you would just make the one pharmacy selection. I'm just going to select that one there and continue. So now we've basically created a consumer profile that will remain in your portal and your portal only. So you're the only one that's going to access this information, always have access to it. You can sort the plans by total estimated cost, plan premium, Medicare star rating, and carrier. Again, breaking it down per MA, PD, PDP, and MA, and then the few med subs that we do have in the tool there. Now we can compare up to 3 plans here, and I'm just going to randomly select a few here that we can show, and click compare now. So it's building out our comparison based upon the information we put in there, and we can do a few things from here. So we can send a multi-plan quote, which is what we're going to do today. You can send the quote, which also sends the enrollment form for the specific plan in that column. So if you wanted to send the Medicare Complete Plan 1, you simply would click that. Now, if you are face-to-face with a consumer, you most definitely can use this tool as well. If I'm the agent doing all of this, and I would simply just click enroll, and you would complete the portion as we're going to do here momentarily, except we're going to show if it were the consumer completing it. So looks essentially the same. The signature page is a little bit different, but other than that, the process is the exact same. So listing out the comparison here, again, you do have access to the physician and pharmacy lookup in each one. More details here, everything's listed out. Again, we're going to click send multi-plan quote because we want the consumer to see this information. Automatically pre-populates this, which saves a lot of time and info. You can customize this message for whatever you would like it to say. And down here on the bottom, you're going to see a code. This code serves for one sole purpose, and that is for HIPAA practice and privacy reasons. the consumer will get 2 emails. So we're going to send quick quote, and the consumer is going to get 1 email listing the quote, 1 email listing that code. So they have to copy and paste that code into the quote to see that information. So we sent that information over. I'm the consumer, Baxter, in this information, or in this instance, I should say. I'm going to go here, and you're going to see these 2 codes come through pretty quickly. So as you see, here's the code information. I'm just going to copy this information and open up the quote that says, thanks, this is your customized message if you chose to do so, but you would simply just click View Quote. Once you click View Quotes, you're going to paste that information in there and continue. Your agent information will be listed up here, so it will contain your name, email, and phone number. This will be your customized message. This is their information. They can edit this information if they need to. Scrolling down are the 3 plans that we sent. So they can click on View Plan Details for specific plans there, or they can click Compare these plans to see what we sent over. As you see, it's displayed essentially just like we just saw on the agent side. It'll give you the drugs breakdown, if they're covered, etc. here. However, you again can enroll in any of these plans. But let's say that we wanted to display exactly all plan details. The consumer clicks View Plan Details, and it gives us a tremendous amount of information. So as you see, we have everything listed, including the drug cost breakdown or total cost. So if we wanted to see the drug cost breakdown with the donut hole and all that fun stuff, you're able to see this information here. So pretty cool stuff. It gives you all the drugs listed. If you had 10 drugs, all 10 drugs will display. You can make changes, or the consumer can make changes to their drugs as well. Again, total cost breakdown there, more physician and pharmacy lookups. But even better, this will give the whole breakdown. So as you see, it's going to give us the cost amounts, the co-pays, etc. Scrolling down to the bottom, to remain 100% compliant, we do give the consumer everything they would normally need in paper format. So pretty nice that it's all digital as well. They can access the summary of benefits, the EOC, the formulary, the star ratings, everything they need, they can access right here. Now, at this point, let's say the Baxter's comfortable in enrolling in the Advanced or Silver plan. They would simply just click Enroll in this plan. Just saying they're redirecting, essentially. And again, promise it's not this slow. It is significantly faster. So as you see, the enrollment form populates. Pretty straightforward. Looks pretty much, like a paper format enrollment form. SCP question, if during SCP exists, of course, we're just going to drop down to I am new to Medicare. The date selection here, all of this information does pre-populate as I promised, except for one question, and that is the gender question. You do have to answer that. If they have a different mailing address, that needs completed or changed. Physician selection with a hyperlink if they do not know, or if you do not provide them with that information. So I'm just making this information up and continuing through. Now we're going to get an error here, which is nice because I want to display how dummy proof or foolproof the system is. So this really registers and eliminates any potential errors that could be submitted to the carrier based upon manual input. So this is obviously recognizing that the address I used is not a real address, which it does stop you from moving forward. I am going to bypass for today's presentation, but just showing you what it does there. Continuing through to the questions, of course, we all know and love here. ESRD, drug coverage, LTC, Medicaid, do you work? And the language. Continuing through will next be the Medicare information. So, of course, what is the question we're going to get here? Does it accept the old and the new information? Yes, it 100% does. So with that being said, it does recognize old and new numbers. so it will not reject that information. We do the effective dates, paying your plan premium, whatever the carrier chooses to offer in MedicareCENTER is what's listed. So you'll see EFT, coupon book, SSA, and railroad for this Aetna plan specifically, and continuing through. We're going to get another error. So again, showing you how dummy-proof the system is. It's checking the Medicare number that's input onto the enrollment form against the consumer's last name. So really kind of eliminates the potential of missing that or messing that up. I'm going to bypass that, of course. And we are going to review the information that we completed. So again, pretty straightforward, just making sure there were no errors here. You can change the information if necessary, but we're going to go ahead and complete the review. By completing the review, it's going to be the next two lovely, again, pages that we would normally read to a consumer, disclaimers, etc. So if the consumer is completing it, this is the enrollment section or signature section that is done by one of these two radio buttons. The top selection is I am the person listed or simply helping to complete. The second button down here would be if it's a POA, etc. They make that selection, and by checking this box, this will now serve as the consumer's digital signature as well on the enrollment form. So if done remotely and it's sent to the consumer for completion, this is exactly how it's done. Now, if you are face-to-face and you utilize the enroll button as the agent, it's done exactly the same way except for this section here. In some instances, carriers will require a physical signature from the consumer if you're face-to-face, whether that's done through a mouse, a scribe tool, and or touchpad, which brings me to a good point. You can utilize this tool on an iPad, on a phone, on any tablet, Windows, anything. So it is a web-based URL. So exciting news, you can use it on a laptop, desktop, tablet, phone, etc. So what I was saying is if you do face-to-face, some carriers will require that physical signature from the consumer, which can simply be done by the mouse or touchpad. And then that's really the only difference in this section here. Now we can't submit again this enrollment where we will send it to Aetna and enroll Baxter, who actually is my dog, and we don't really want to do that. So I will tell you the next steps. Once we would click submit enrollment, the consumer would get a confirmation page that says, congratulations, you're now enrolled in the Advanced or Silver plan, all of that fun stuff. It will include the next steps for the next 7 to 10 days. You're going to get your card, your information, etc. Now you're also, or they will also be able to print a copy of their enrollment or save a PDF. The consumer is going to also get notified, the consumer and agent, and then the agent can also print the PDF copy of the enrollment as well. So you always have access to that information. Now, we will go back and show you a little bit more on that side of things here. So we're going to exit out of here, go back here. So at this point, if I click View Dashboard, I know that Baxter enrolled, everything's good to go. We're going to start seeing these enrollments kind of populate here. So we would then see that information. I'm going to jump back over here real quick. You'll start to see this information tally. And now to access that information, so if we wanted to search profiles, you can search by first name, last name, anything. I'm just going to show you how it really varies however you'd like to search that information. You don't have to do both. You can do first or last name. Here, all of the information will be visible. Now, you can enroll history, so you can click that. I'm just going to open in a new tab. It's going to do it for me, which is not because of the testing site. So we'll just go ahead and click Enroll History. And what it's going to show you is the date and time, the plan, and the confirmation number of the completed enrollment. Also, to the right-hand side, you're going to see a little printer. So you can always access this information, print or save the copy of the enrollment form on the agent side, and you'll always have access to that information. Additionally, so again, as I said, with the Medicare.gov exit, we really are happy to provide all agents access to this information. If you search for any consumer and click their name, all of this information that we just did historically tracks in the system. So if we jump over to the drugs, if Baxter calls in and says, I want a new drug, simply add the drug here, continue on, and then you'll always have access, which is pretty cool stuff there. Going back, if we wanted to go to the profile, scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see something labeled Task List Report. It's always going to be set to incomplete, but if you filter that to all, what it's going to show is everything you've done with that consumer. So pretty cool stuff. This is historically tracked for your records. You can see your quick quote message. You can see that password if they happen to delete that email, if they didn't get it, etc. You can provide that. It'll give you the plan and everything like that. So scrolling up to add new notes or tasks, simply click the checkbox, and you can really note anything you like. So if you wanted to say, going out of town this week, you can save the note. Even better, what I like to utilize is the tasks section. So you can say, call Baxter in 2 weeks. You can set that custom date out at any time here and save the task. Once you save the notes or task, if you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see that information here. That'll always remain in your system. But something new also this year, which is pretty exciting news. Many requests came in to track the Medicare number. We're actually going to have some blank fields in here where you can track that information. So as you go through the process, you'll be able to store the Medicare number, always have that to reference to as well. So that will be released on 10/1. But if we wanted to see on the dashboard all of our tasks that we have to do, so you can really kind of stay up to date with your information, you would just simply click on the taskbar there and utilize that as your to-do list. It will tell you the date you created it, the date you scheduled it, if you're past due, etc. Once you click this little checkbox, it will give you the date and time that you completed it. So if I complete Baxter, it's going to fall off your to-do list and you're going to be all caught up. So nice, again, little basic but very effective CRM tool there for you to utilize. So that is enough of me deep diving and going through enrollment. So I am going to now open it up for questions for about 15 minutes or so. And I will start at the top of the list because it does look like we have quite a few. So this is really the best kind of Q&A session where everyone can learn the tips and tricks and things like that. So first question here is, if the client changes their RX data, does it save to the profile and the agent's login? Yes, absolutely. Any changes that the consumer were to do on their side, it does store in their profile for the agent to view as well. Next question, is Humana on here? Yes, it is. Does work with iPad. Login information, again, reach out to your upline. We'll get that information to you, but very simply, I'll rattle it off again. Your username is very simple, NPN. So if it's your NPN of 12345, that's your username. Your password is capital NPN plus the last 4 digits. So if you're looking at 12345, you have a password of NPN, all caps, 2345. You do have the ability to change that upon first login or request. So you can always get that changed if you do request such. You can do this side by side. So you can do this, use MedicareCENTER, whether remotely or face-to-face. If you are face-to-face, you can collect a paper scope and upload it, or you can go through the electronic scope process as well. Should you be able to log in? That's a tricky question. We are implementing a lot of different agencies as we speak. So if you're experiencing issues, I will tell you this: wait until 10/1 and then test it out and see what happens. We are in the process of adding carriers and agencies and all kinds of fun stuff. So if you're experiencing issues at this point, The new site will be live on 10/1, and you should have access at this point. Next question, if you're looking for a recording, please reach out to your upline or MedicareCENTER@integritymarketing.com, and we'll make sure we get you that information there. If you have, okay, so next question is basically if you have multiple contracts with different companies under the Integrity platform, will you still have access? Yes. So if you have United Healthcare and Aetna through one FMO under Integrity, and you have Humana and Anthem under another Integrity FMO, you will see all 4 carriers. Now, on the flip side of that, if you have 4 carriers with Integrity and then you have 1 carrier outside of the Integrity platform, you will not see that carrier that is outside of the Integrity platform. The personalized URL can be done through a bit.ly. For those who don't know what a bit.ly is, it's basically a bit link which shortens a very long URL, which if you didn't recognize or realize in your personal marketing shopping link, it is a very, very long, and I mean very long, it's probably 1,000 characters. This is not the whole thing. If you copy and paste it into the thing, it's really like this long. So you really do want to shorten your URL because you don't want to use that really long URL to market with. Can you add the county they live in to CRM? Absolutely. We don't capture the county in the profile section, but again, you can add that into one of the blank fields that will be added this year, and or the notes or tasks section. So you can really put any of that information in there. You can print the scope of appointment and application. Absolutely. I think we talked about that. If only quoting Medigap products, does the SOA screen still come up? Yes, that does not defer, that does not alter anything. This really is a consumer process. So once you start a consultation, that'll always be there, whether you capture that information or not. You always can access that. Client information is 100% confidential. We don't give any of this information to anyone. You're the only one that has access to your website. It is specific to you. And the Start New Enrollment tab, can you skip to the drugs? You don't want to start a new enrollment. Again, backing up, you obviously want to start a consultation. So once you start a consultation, you do not have to complete any of that information if you choose not to do. You can basically bypass to compare plans and go from there. So if you know that Baxter wants to enroll in the Advanced or Silver plan, feel free to bypass that and go straight to the Enroll. If you do that, I can promise you the enrollment takes no more than 8 to 10 minutes, which is very, very nice, and obviously a really time saver, cost saver. Can you print out the consultation profile? You can screenshot it. There's not necessarily a print button on the drugs section, but feel free to screenshot it and save it as a PDF. Absolutely. Next question, of course, is one of the big ones. Can you utilize VBE that Aetna is releasing, all the HSA or HIRAs? Not at this time. It is something we are working on to build in the MedicareCENTER, but currently, no, you cannot complete those. In order to get that extra incentive, that does have to be done through the carrier's online enrollment tool. You can complete an SOA in person, absolutely, and upload it. You don't have to do it electronically. Next question, can we change the code to last four of social? 100% absolutely not. That would defeat the purpose of the HIPAA privacy practice and confidentiality. So the code is naturally generated in the back end and provided to the consumer. We cannot change or alter that. There is not an offline capability of MedicareCENTER currently. I do imagine we will have an application built down the road where you could access it through iOS and or Android, Google, etc., but currently not. Next question again was the HRA or VBE. No, we cannot use that in the system currently. Looking to implement that possibly next year after AEP. Next question, can we use this if we are contracted directly with the carrier? No, you do have to be under the FMO or a FMO under the Integrity Marketing Platform to utilize that carrier. This will only show plans that you're appointed with. It will not show any additional plans, thus saving you the headache of possibly enrolling a consumer in a not compliant way. So you will only see plans that you're appointed with. When a broker enrolls a client with a carrier, does it require the broker to sign in and log in credentials? No, it doesn't. You do everything just the way we just did. You aren't kicked into another website. You're not kicked to Aetna's website. You're not kicked out to UHC's website. Everything is done solely through MedicareCENTER. Once you submit the enrollment through MedicareCENTER, everything is done after the fact in the broker portal. So if you want to go through and enroll 5 Aetna plans in one day, all 5 of those plans will therefore go to the broker portal in Aetna's site. So nothing really changes whether you do it electronically or paper. Can we upload consultation list, name, email, address, etc.? We're working on a possibility of uploading a book of business if you are an agent or agency with a significant amount of clients. It would not include the consultation list. It would be basic information such as name, email, address, and phone number. If you have questions on that, please reach out to your upline, and we'll be glad to assist once we launch that functionality. You can do a scope and enrollment in person. What carriers? We really haven't released that information, but again, because we're still working on those approvals. But I will say we have United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana, Highmark, and Anthem, with the possibility of a lot more. Some of those I do feel confident about would be WellCare, Silver Script, Mutual of Omaha, and a few more. All of this can be done over the phone remotely. You can stay on the line for them the whole time, absolutely. As long as you send it through email, they can complete it. Right now, no. The next question is, can you compare all physicians without having to click every carrier? Basically a reverse lookup. So this is something that is very high on the developmental side that we're working on. So you would be able to add the physician, and then it would display which carriers in the system that would cover. So that is in the works there, so it's a great question. Can you show the MedSup screens? Absolutely, but I can promise you there really are not too many MedSups in the system, Highmark being the only one currently. It would be just the same way. So if you were looking for, and if everyone's still looking at my screen, we'll do this really quickly. So you go into the profile after the fact, and let's say we wanted to enroll Baxter in a MedSup screen. You can jump to compare plans. Click on MedSup, and then this is what it would look like. So pretty straightforward, looks pretty specific to paper enrollment here. If it's a guaranteed issue, you answer the questions down there. Keeping in mind, once you get access to the tool, you absolutely can create a test profile and go through and do everything. You can't really mess up the system, so aside from submitting a not compliant sale, but you can do everything that we just did. So if you create a profile, I highly recommend creating your first name as the test, and then, first name as your name, and then the last name of test. So if I'm Justin, I would create the profile of Justin Test and always use that account to test with. Not very many MedSup. Again, Highmark, next question is what MedSup? Highmark is the only one in the tool currently. We are looking to expand that list, but I can't promise any other MedSups in the system currently. The task list does not export to Outlook from our tool specifically, but there are different systems that you can purchase or implement. So if you have an IT employee that can do that for you, it does have the capability to export to Outlook, just not through our site currently. If the client does not have an email address, you must do the enrollment face-to-face. You cannot do anything without that if you're not face-to-face. Full list of products will show in the system on 10/1. 10/1 is the launch of plan year 2020. The carriers do not mind which option you use to enroll. You can use MedicareCENTER, you can use UHC, you can use Lean, you can use Ascend for Aetna, whatever you choose to use. But I will tell you something, that we do have a very nice thing going on for MedicareCENTER. So during last AEP, a lot of the carriers experienced a very big delay in getting those enrollments processed and then showing on your portal. Not saying any carrier, but I can tell you we did have a very nice increase in production turnaround time submitted through a certain carrier last year. So whereas normally it was a 3 or 4 week delay, we were having these portrayed in your portal within 7 to 10 days. So this is a significantly faster enrollment portion here. I will, at the end of this, we'll put the MedicareCENTER email box and phone number as well. Again, but if you do have an upline, contact them. They will be able to help you as well. Next question, do you lose your VBE when you do an all-well application? Again, if you do want to utilize VBE, HSA, HRA, you do have to do it through the carrier site. This system does not pull RX usage from the client. It does not check for LIS status currently. We did try to do both of those, got denied through CMS, so we will continue to try to get that information in the system. You do have, the next question, you do have to be contracted with an FMO under the Integrity Marketing Group platform to have this tool. Does it provide a chronic verification form from UHC Gold? Not currently, so that's another tricky thing that we have here. If there are specialized plans such as SNP plans, we don't have all of those in the system. We do continuously try to get the certain carriers to approve these applications or enrollments, but be aware that not all of these special needs plans are going to be visible in the system. Yes, you will. If you're licensed and appointed in multiple states, these will populate automatically. We do the back-end access for you, making your life much easier. You don't have to tell us, you don't have to request access, we take care of that for you. So Medicare account must be set up before you can see plan. No, absolutely not. This is separate than Medicare.gov. You start a consultation, you build a profile, and you can go from there. Totally different than Medicare.gov. Doctor selection, lookup, etc. Again, the way you do it, we'll do it by plan. We are looking to implement the quote-unquote reverse lookup, where you could just search for the specific doctor. No ETA on that, but I would foresee that being probably sometime next year. Client data will not automatically populate. Please reach out to us, and we'll try to get that scheduled for you with your book of business. If a client goes to the Medicare.gov site, changes their drug info, will it feed back to MedicareCENTER? Absolutely not. We are not connected to Medicare.gov in any way, shape, or form. The scope of appointment stores for the life of the tool, not just for 10 years, so you will always have access to that information. Allwell is a carrier that I feel confident will be in the system. So Allwell Centene, I am confident that it will probably be in the system for 10/1. We update the carriers for agents on the back end. You have nothing to worry about. Next question, I just touched base on it, so I apologize. SNP enrollments, very few are provided. The carrier, unfortunately, gives us that information, what they want to choose to put in there. We do not get to pick and choose, or I would have them all on the system. FMOs under the Integrity platform, please do me a favor, send your question for that to MedicareCENTER at integritymarketing.com, and we will be glad to help you with that. Instructions on marketing, so we can do social media with the MedicareCENTER link. We do have a very brief one-page flyer, but when it really comes down to marketing with social media, I would recommend reaching out to your upline with some ideas, and we'll be able to kind of guide you in the right direction there. Does it require a broker to log on the carrier portal enrolling a client? No, totally separate. You use MedicareCENTER only. Next question, if SOA application is held on MedicareCENTER, does the agent also have to hold the electronic paper documents for 10 years? Nope, totally separate. MedicareCENTER does everything for you, thus eliminating all of the paperwork. Agents, again, if you don't have access currently, we're working on providing that to you. Make sure you check on 10-1. We'll get you set up and squared away. The program will show clients who, does it show if they left? No. So it does not show you if a consumer left your plan. You would obviously want to follow up with the consumer on that one. Commissions are done fully through the carrier. We don't touch, we don't alter, we don't track, we don't do anything with commissions. That is done solely through the information there. Or the carrier, I should say. Everything done in the tool is sent to the carrier. You get 100% commissions. Nothing's touched, nothing's altered. Your helpline will be your upline or MedicareCENTER at integrity.com. Next question, face-to-face electronic scope. Can this be done via email as well? Absolutely. So if you're face-to-face, you can help them through the electronic scope process. Next question here. I would assume you don't send this until 10/15. If you do send it to your consumers before 10/15, they cannot access any of the information. So while they can log in and view a quote, they cannot access the enrollment form. They will be shown an error that says this will be turned on 10/15. If you need to notice what plans you're appointed with, I would highly recommend reaching out to your upline to gather that information. Next question, how do we assure the brokers will safeguard all the client information? We are 100% compliant with the tool. We don't share, we don't alter, we don't do anything with any of the consumer's information in any way, shape, or form. Therefore, we will not share that information. You cannot upload drug lists from Medicare.gov, unfortunately. So if you are sitting face-to-face with a lead, you again would simply go through the process the same way we just did, except you would click the enroll button instead of send quote. Initial login info, again, is your NPN with the password of NPN plus the last 4 digits of your NPN. If a consumer is utilizing your personalized URL and you have 0 contacts with that consumer, you obviously don't need a scope of appointment. So that is utilized for somebody that's just out there openly shopping. Please reach out to MedicareCENTER at integrity.marketing.com or your upline to get a recorded copy. And if you need a list of the FMOs under the Integrity marketing platform. If you utilize the 2020 site, that will be open 10/1. If you previously used MedicareCENTER in years past, that website will change to MedicareCENTER.com/2019. So you can access 2019 plans. It would just be done in a different URL. Links to log in, if you need that information, please reach out. But again, it's pretty simple. MedicareCENTER at integritymarketing.com. And then your login credentials, again, are pretty straightforward. Last question we have time for here is, and that is the last question we have, can you import clients to MedicareCENTER? Again, if you have a significant book of business, we are glad to try to get that uploaded for you, understanding it will only be first, last name, email address, phone number, and address. One last question, which I think is a really good one, actually. If an agent retires and no longer CMS certified, is there a way they will still have access to the platform? We never strip this access from you, so if you always need access, you'll be able to access your client, provided everything's done. If you transfer the book of business, that agent would have that information. So any further guidance on that, please reach out to myself and or your upline. I'll definitely walk you through that process. And without any further questions and time from everyone's day, I've taken enough. We have recorded this. I'll make sure that I do my best to get this distributed as necessary to everyone involved. Again, I want to thank you for your time. Very excited to provide all these agents and all of us MedicareCENTER for usage this year. Should be pretty effective for this AEP. And again, thanks for your time, and we'll talk soon.